Hey guys, I've been really interested in this Borderlands movie ever since it was announced, and I've been behind the scenes doing research and trying to find out as much as I can. I've also gotten some great inside industry info from one of my friends that is a higher up at one of the world's largest TV and film companies. So I'll be sharing with you guys what they said, and then also show you some information that I was able to uncover about a potential second Borderlands movie. So we all know that Eli Roth is the director and Craig Mazin is writing this movie, and back in May they announced that they hired their first actor for one of the major roles. They got Cate Blanchett to play Lilith. I think she's going to do really well as Lilith and be believable. On the right is what Lilith originally looks like, and on the left, that is Lilith transformed into Cate Blanchett. So this is all we know right now and what has been publicly announced. Well, because I have a friend on the inside in the industry, they let me in on a little tip on how I can find information early. In the TV and film industry, there are publications that are posted on the internet to allow for people in that industry to seek out jobs. Unfortunately, the information isn't free. You have to pay a pretty costly subscription to see the info, but I went ahead and paid it because I wanted to see if there was more that I could find, and I did. I had noticed that the publications had shown that Cate Blanchett was the actress for this role well before it was announced publicly. I even made a video about it showing that she was confirmed for Lilith well before it was even announced on the internet, and I was able to find this information within these publications. So I've been keeping an eye on these publications to see if they announced any new actors for any of the roles. So far, they haven't said anything. Nothing has changed since the announcement of Cate Blanchett, and there's an obvious and very good reason for that, and I'll share with you what my friend in the industry said about this and some other inside info that he shared. But while digging through these publications, I did find some additional information that shows that a second Borderlands movie was in the works or could be in the works. So there's multiple publications that show TV and film jobs, and these are the three that I subscribe to, and they seem to be the top and have some of the best info, and all three of them reflected this second Borderlands movie that was in the works or could still be in the works. The three companies are Production Bulletin, Production Weekly, and Below the Line Production Listings, and I'll show you guys the Below the Line listing that shows the additional movie. Again, they all show the additional movie, but I'm just focused on this one for now. So when I did a search, I searched for everything, all productions in the past, anything that's current, and anything for the future, and I used the word Borderland. There is a movie called Borderland without an S and a television series called Borderlands, so I recognize those. And then it does list the Borderlands movie that's going to be based on the game. It just says Borderlands and it's in active development. But then below that it says Western Borderlands, that it's going to be a motion picture. It's also in development and it's been in the works since May 2015. And this Western Borderlands does show up in all of these publications. I clicked on it to see what it said, and it does say that it's under the same production company, G.R.E.N.A.D.E Productions, and the same distributor as Lionsgate. The plot that it shows is totally different from the Borderlands movie that has been announced, and it's also a completely different genre. The Borderlands movie that has been announced and its plot is saying that Borderlands is going to be set in the distant future, in which 4 vault hunters travel to a distant planet Pandora to hunt down an alien vault, so basically the storyline of the game. But then the plot of this Western Borderlands movie, which is completely separate, is totally different. It says the story depicts a bleak future in which an abandoned mining colony on a distant planet has created a lawless society when a nearby star's gravitational pull unearths horrifying alien creatures hidden deep below the surface. The surviving colonists retreat to a vault rumored to contain advanced alien technology. So yeah, that is way different. There is no mention of Borderlands vault hunters or anything to do with the game series storyline. Then if you notice right below that, it says that the genre is sci-fi horror, and the Borderlands movie that's based on the game storyline is sci-fi action, so nothing to do with horror whatsoever, but still sci-fi. So yeah, the mining colony makes sense to be in a Western setting, and I think the idea of horrifying alien creatures would be very cool. And we've definitely gotten a taste of a Western theme for Borderlands with the DLC 3 Bounty of Blood. So it seems like the ideas around a Western setting has probably been circulating in their creative team, and whether or not we get to see this movie ever happen, I don't know, but it's cool that we got to see the Western theme in this DLC. Also, I love the idea of a Western horror, and then with the setting of Borderlands, that would be so wild. For this Borderlands horror movie, they had a different director and screenwriter planned for it, or still have planned for it. His name is Leigh Whannell. I clicked on this to see what other movies he was a screenwriter and director on, and it shows Insidious series, Saw series, and some others, so he definitely definitely is familiar with the horror genre. I wanted to dig a little bit more into this and find out if there was any legitimacy to this listing. What does it mean? What do the people know behind the scenes that are creating this listing? So I emailed these publications and I did get a response from Production Bulletin. They said, "Thanks for contacting us today. Western Borderlands has been an interesting project for us. We continue to check with the production office on a weekly basis and have been continuously advised it's in active development, but with no further details. Usually, we remove projects that remain pending for this long, but due to the feedback they've given us, it remains up. When we update a project, it immediately goes to the top of our database and will be found in the current weekly report published every Sunday." They went on to say that I was not the only subscriber to inquire about this project, and it's at the top of their priority list to get completed. So what this means is that whenever they're trying to update their listings and have the most accurate information on their publication, they're given information about this that leads them to believe that it's legitimate enough for them to keep the post going. Now, I did read an article where they said that Arid Productions is hoping to make multiple Borderlands movies. This article here was written by Project Casting, and they said the movie will be produced by Arid Productions and will be a so-called tentpole movie for Lionsgate Studios. Tentpole means Lionsgate is expected to have the Borderlands film to be a major financial success with several sequels, heavy marketing, and marketing pushes when the movie eventually hits theaters. This article was written a long time ago, but it shows evidence that they were hoping and may still be hoping to have multiple sequels. They're probably wanting to see how well this first one does before they do a lot of investing into another one, and maybe that's why the Western Borderlands idea is something that they're going to play around with and maybe use if the first one is really successful. So I talked to my buddy that's in the film industry to see if he knew anything about this Borderlands movie. He's a big Borderlands fan, and he actually wants to try and work on this film. He's worked on all kinds of TV and film like Pirates of the Caribbean, iRobot, X-Men, Walking Dead, all kinds of really popular titles. So he is definitely in the know of what's going on within that industry. So him and I had a conversation back and forth, and these are the things he said. He said everything is delayed unless it was filmed prior to March and before COVID. There won't be anything new, meaning like any kind of information or production processes started until like October, fall. And when he's saying everything delayed, he's talking about the entire film industry. But he goes on to say, especially since America kind of screwed ourselves back to square one and cases are on the rise. He said their biggest and most obvious concern is how do you film more than one actor together on set in this COVID era? He explained that they may have to do more visual effects work to create that instead of having physical people there. I then asked if they were in the part of the process where they hire actors for the major roles and even background actors. And he said that Lionsgate has been quiet, like most of the studios regarding any new production. They'll want to get all the major players cast first before worrying about extras and background peeps. He went on to answer more questions about COVID and the production process and the delays, and then I also asked him about where this Borderlands movie could be filmed. He said, "We need the time to flatten the curve so it will be safe to begin any new productions, at least here in the States. Other productions have started back up overseas, Marvel, some other films, etc. Canada is viable and they could go there rather safely, since the Canadians have their stuff under control. And my good guess would be they will film Borderlands out of the country for not only COVID concerns, but tax incentives as well. They could go to Malta, Pest, Bulgaria, etc. Or it could be a very large stage shoot like Avatar, Mandalorian, with massive LED walls used to project pre-rendered CG environments like that of Pandora." I asked him about potential start dates for the movie, and he said yes, the industry for the most part keeps pushing potential start dates while they monitor the COVID situation here in the States. They can still start casting and pre-production, but filming has to wait until it's safer. It's going to be a while before it's totally safe. He also said new rules and precautions for film are being created by all studios, film, television, streaming, and I imagine a set of rules will be agreed upon and used by all before filming resumes. Fall should be when most new productions can update on their potential start dates for filming or even entering pre-production, casting, location, scouting, refining scripts, etc.